Welcome back. That's right, I'm back. Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So today, let's talk about Bitcoin, of course, and how the whales are positioning for something huge. No surprise. And also Ethereum whales too. And let's talk about everything else that's going on as well. All right. Let's do it, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am back from my week-long vacation, which I did not want to leave, but you know what? Now I need a vacation from my vacation. All right. I'll talk more about that during Q&A. Let's see. We're starting out the day right under 114,000, which is okay. Could be better, but as you can see, we are holding right around that trend line, right? So Bitcoin is still moving as expected, and Bitcoin dominance is starting to tick up a little bit, although ETH is still holding extremely well. You can make an argument that ETH actually has been holding even better than Bitcoin recently. But let's see, the US market is opening up in the green today. Yesterday was not so good. The day before was good. So it's kind of mixed, right? We had a really good Monday yesterday, not so good today. Are we going to flip into the green, at least for the crypto-related stocks? We definitely could. It's a little bit in the red, but they can definitely turn green soon. Again, you know, when you have these red or green days, it's mostly revolving around two things. Trade deals / tariffs, or rate cuts. They're all related to one of these two things right now. Trump is still working on a EU trade deal. This will be a big one, obviously, because this entails a lot of countries. And he's trying to get them to commit to a $600 billion investment, but they're still working on it. Okay, but obviously one, and then also trade deal with China, even though I thought they had something, it's just kind of like a temporary thing, so they're working on it. So if you get the trade deal done with China and the EU, and these come out soon, that'll be big, and it'll be really good for markets. What else is good is, if you look at September, you could see there's an 89% chance there will be a 25 basis point cut. This doesn't show a 50 basis point possibility. Not in September. In October, it shows we have another 59% chance of having a 25 basis point cut. I have a feeling as we get closer to September 17th, we will see a 50% percentage or 50 basis point percentage, because I think there's this growing sentiment that we can get a 50 basis point cut in September rather than just a normal 25 basis point cut. We will see. We will see. I think we're gonna get a clearer picture tomorrow when we get a jobless report, and that could be a really telling thing. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that could be really good for markets as well, as soon as we get, you know, some kind of hint that maybe we get even a bigger cut in September. This kind of reminds me of, you know, when we first started cutting, I forget, in 2022 possibly, or 2023, when we had so many rate hikes and then we stayed elevated and we finally started to cut, or the Fed finally started to cut. The very first one was a 50 basis point one, and it was a surprise too. So I'm hoping it's something like that. We'll see. We'll see later this week. All right, what else? Let's get back to some crypto news. Let's see. Robert Kiyosaki, he's tweeting a lot about Bitcoin. Calls Bitcoin pure genius. Plans to expand holdings to 100 Bitcoin, which actually for him is really nothing. But, you know, he breaks it down how anyone can become a millionaire simply by just holding Bitcoin. It doesn't take a lot of effort Not like when he made his first million in real estate, which took a lot of money, risk, time, sleepless nights. Well, these days it takes a lot of money to buy Bitcoin. And that's why I've been telling you guys to hold on DCA all these years, because 7 years ago it was a lot cheaper. Okay, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I should say, Bitcoin was still around $1,000, and 4 years ago it was like 15,000. Now we're at 114,000. So obviously a lot more expensive these days to get involved, but still nothing compared to where Bitcoin will be. There's no theoretical limit on how high we can go. So is this still true? Yes, I think it's still true. It's going to take a little bit longer if you're starting out with a smaller amount, but Bitcoin does not have a cap and is set to keep going. And there's something else too. There's a few interviews I want to play for you guys that relate to this, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But outside of Robert's enthusiasm, of course, others are still buying. We know Sailor's buying, Metaplan's buying. Those two are no surprise. They're not neck and neck, but they just keep buying. Okay. But you got what? Michigan State pension. Their pension fund has expanded. Bitcoin, their Bitcoin ETF holdings, not Bitcoin, but still Bitcoin ETFs. ETFs are good. Okay. You got Smarter Web Company raised 21 million because they want to buy more Bitcoin. So, I mean, the buying continues. Although there are times, right, ETF inflows are not positive, and that actually happened this week. I was looking at this. We actually had 4 straight days of red. And the biggest surprise of this is the last 2 days, BlackRock had outflows. Normally speaking, BlackRock never, ever, ever has outflows. But for first time, it's not for first time. We have seen BlackRock have outflows, but 3 consecutive days of outflow for BlackRock, that's no good. And then Fidelity had 4 straight days. So on Monday specifically, for the 4th, which is actually a really good day overall, we actually had a lot of outflow. So it's kind of weird. Wall Street is kind of weird in that way. You would figure yesterday would be a bigger outflow than Monday, but no. Monday we had a big outflow. It's weird, right? But let's see when this turns around. The inflow definitely exceeds the outflow. But periodically we do have a little bit of outflow. So this kind of explains the reason why we're where we are right now rather than being at 118 and 120. But we will get back up there. It's just a matter of time. But Wall Street sometimes they don't know what they're doing. Quite frankly, these fund managers, they're very reactive. Okay, and if there's panic or they see something else greener, they'll flip to it. But then they always flip back because now the proof is there. Okay, nothing outperforms Bitcoin over long haul. It's the one that you want to hodl and DCA basically forever. And if you do that, you're going to be generating a lot of money, a lot of gains, life-changing wealth, or at least attain financial freedom. So don't let anything distract you from that. And those that truly understand, okay, that are not just trading Bitcoin, that are actually accumulating Bitcoin, well, if they understand that, they're going to continue to keep accumulating. Like this chart shows, this is showing accumulator addresses, basically ones that's been DCAing. You can see clearly it's on the rise. Ever since July, it's been going up. Even with the recent dip, still going up. Those that understand will continue to load up. And I mentioned about Strategy and Metaplanet, but there's many other companies out there like Mara Galaxy Digital, Riot, even Trump Media, the new 21 Capital, all these guys, they continue to hodl and DCA. And the amazing thing is, if you add all these companies up, it's close to 5% of the supply already. That's not counting the ETFs, which is another 5-6%. So in total, these guys already hold 11% of the supply. They are accumulating wildly. So again, another reason why you want to continue to hodl and DCA and just let the gains come to you. That's the easiest way. Easiest way. All right, what else is there? Let's see. 4-year cycle. I know a lot of you guys are focused on 4-year cycle. I am too, right? But obviously there's diminishing return to every cycle because Bitcoin gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But even with that said, you know, this cycle could still bring us well above 200, 250,000. This one's actually estimating we hit around $350,000. You could see how our current movement is just like a slow and steady rise. Not like the last cycle where we kind of went sideways for a long time and then boom, we went up. This cycle, we've been just going slow and steady. But we got a couple months left of this year, and that's when things could get quite crazy. We're looking forward to it. There's a lot of charts that show we are getting ready for that next leg up. And even with that next leg up, we got another leg after that. So, yeah, again, at this point, no one should be fearful about Bitcoin's future. And if you understand, you understand. Now, Tom Lee, a lot of you guys know Tom Lee of Fundstrat, did an interview recently. There's a couple clips I want to play. One that talks about how the 4-year cycle may be over. And this is something that I've started saying recently. Some people still don't believe. It says this is nonsense. But if you just think about it, it makes more and more sense how the 4-year cycle could be dead. Now, there's obviously the halving event that's still going to happen every 4 years. But this notion of having crypto winter for 2 years, 2.5 years, then going upwards, that could be over. Let me play this clip for you guys because I think it makes a lot of sense. And he also talks about Bitcoin going to $1 million plus.
If someone wanted to understand the use case for Bitcoin, and there's many, but they're not too, they don't have a lot of conviction around something. To me, I could say easily it should supplant gold. And so I think Bitcoin should be, you know, over $1 million over time. And then I kind of prescribing to the view that there's probably a chance that maybe the 4-year cycle's ending for Bitcoin because of the way institutional adoption of that thesis is taking place. And so you have institutional and permanent, essentially permanent holders of Bitcoin coming in. So should be good. I mean, so I think Bitcoin should really build upon this 120 before the end of the year. So, you know, 200,000, maybe 250. If someone,
there you go. So, I mean, the 4-year cycle will still exist because of the halving event, because every 4 years, Bitcoin is going to have its inflation rate cut in half. But, I mean, again, just think about it. With all these institutions, with all these public trade companies, and ETFs holding the vast majority of their Bitcoin, they're just long-term holders now. You know, the chances of mass panic, mass selling at the end of this year, a percentage of that goes down significantly, right? So that's why, and I think it makes sense. And Tom Lee adamantly thinks that Bitcoin is going to surpass gold's market cap. And in order for that to happen, Bitcoin has to go above $1 million. So that's still a 10x on the table. Now, if you ask Saylor thinks it's still 100x because Bitcoin's going to go to $13 million eventually. But that may take a little time. And Tom Lee, I'm not gonna play this clip, but he basically says that Strategy could become the largest company on the planet just because of their Bitcoin holdings, and it makes a lot of sense. You know what doesn't make a lot of sense is Tom Lee has always been the biggest Bitcoin bull there is. Yet his company has $3 billion of Ethereum. This is the reason why Ethereum, one of the reasons why, I should say, not the only reason, one of the reasons why Ethereum has been very strong recently. ETF inflows turned positive, even more so than Bitcoin. Tom Lee's been getting a lot of attention for his company, BitMine, which has $3 billion of ETH, right? And he got a lot of famous investors that's also invested in it. So even though he's such a big Bitcoin bull, he's still an ETH bull. And this is what I've always said. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis. At least back in the day, I don't hear it as much. But back in the day, Bitcoin maxis would be threatened by Ethereum. And they hate Ethereum. They think Ethereum's stealing Bitcoin's thunder. The two really do not compete. Okay, if you truly understand what Bitcoin is, which is a store of value, and ETH, which is basically an operating system, they really don't compete with each other. But there are many that feel like Ethereum is like AOL, if any of you guys are old enough to remember AOL. And everything else is kind of the future, right? But hey, it took a long time before AOL stopped their service. And I think their dial-up is still existing. Believe it or not, I think there's still dial-up internet in some parts of this country. At least a few years ago there was. I don't know if there still is. Maybe there is. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I think AOL is still existing. Anyways, so one of those, one of the newer kids on the block, like Sui, is also getting a lot of attention. This Switch Bank becomes the first to offer Sui trading and custody. And we have, of course, seen many other banks do that with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now you're starting to see it for Sui. Here's another one, Mill City Ventures secures $500 million equity line for Sui treasury expansion. So again, not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even Sol, because there are Sol treasuries out there. Now there's Sui as well. So that's great. That's great. All right. That's pretty much it. Hey, we turn a little green, 114.3. That is good. And let's see, overall, U.S. market, still green. MicroStrategy is turning a little green. Robinhood's down a little bit. Coinbase had a horrible day yesterday. People are overreacting to Coinbase. Okay, they had a bad quarterly, and they were being sold off, but I think they'll go bounce back by the end of this year. All right. Let's do some Q&A. You know what? I'm not jet lagged anymore. I think I got caught up. I fixed my schedule. I'm pretty good with jet lag. So, in case you guys are wondering. Jason Penna looked it up for me. 175,000 households still have dial-up internet. I see Josh. I got Josh addicted to Clash Royale. I'm almost at 9,500 trophies. But I did have to spend some money. You know, I didn't spend any money until like 6,000 plus trophies. But if you don't, it's just really hard to compete because these guys are just crazy. But I'm almost to 9,500, so I'm pretty proud of that. That game is too addictive. When I get into the zone, I'd play for like 2 hours straight. I did get to evolve Evo Furnace. That was it's a really good character. Max, good morning. Morden asked about XRP. What about it? What about it? Oh, by the way, I'm addicted to another show too, called Snowfall. It's on Hulu/Disney Plus. I'm sure the show's over, but I'm catching up. Season 3, a really, really, really good show. Really dark show, but a really good show. I love shows where it shows like one person becoming, attaining power and becoming like the kingpin of something, right? Like Breaking Bad or something like that. This is kind of like that. More realistic. It's a really good show. Yeah, Ozark. I love that show. Again, another. I love shows. I used to like Prison Break was one before, a really long time ago. I love shows where it shows someone's like drive and and skill or how smart they are, and they become like the best at what they do, or the best of something, or they become the top of something. I love shows like that because that's what I strive to be, I guess. Modern dating life, you're just asking for yourself to be banned, right? Like, seriously. No, I'm not going to look at whatever meme that you said at the beginning, and I gave you a 10-minute timeout, which you clearly ignored. Now you're trying to get me again to look at it, and I've just banned you from the channel. Prison Break, the first 2 seasons of Prison Break were masterful seasons, and then it got pretty drawn out afterwards. Especially with they had to throw him back into prison and stuff. But the first 2 seasons were really, really good. Snowfall is getting really good now. Season 3 is awesome. There's like 3 more seasons I gotta get caught up on. You know what? Right before I went on, Steven's asked about my Lexus. Right before I went on vacation, I found this guy, detailer guy. He was at my house basically for a week, doing color correction and ceramic coating on all my cars, and also got my Ferrari PPF. That costs a lot of money, but all my cars now have perfect paint and a super, super shiny gloss because of the coating, and I should be good for the next 5 years. I took a lot of pictures and stuff, so and then right afterwards I had to leave, so I didn't even really enjoy the cars yet. Omar, appreciate that. Mike Smith says, you see the Pokemon Bull Run? I can't find any Pokemon cards, but sports cards still sitting on shelves. It's true. I mean, especially basketball cards because there's no good rookies right now. After Wemby, no one cares about any of the rookies. But Pokemon is getting really hot again, really really hot, and it's just seasonal. You know, like it got cold, now it's hot. I think sports cards will come back to life, so it's the same thing. It's the same as altcoin season. You know, it gets hot and cold and hot. See, Bitcoin dominance starting to come up a bit. Hopefully, this is not a longer trend. Hopefully, this is just due to recent weakness, but we would really love to see this flip downwards. This is one chart where flipping downwards would be good because that would show strength in all the alts. But Bitcoin bounced off this trend line pretty nicely, as you guys can see. Mike Smith, if you're holding on like Jordan rookies or autos or Kobe autos or LeBron rookies autos, like those kind of cards, they're not dropping. Okay, they have held their values really well. One of my best friends still very, very, very involved with cards. Um, those just never really drop. Everything else, I kind of agree with. But you know, like Steph rookies, these guys are all like pretty old now, so those are the ones to collect, and the high graded ones too. Chit Chat says this: there is still para, paranoia, paranoia that 4-year cycle and the future bear market is still in effect, regardless of institutional involvement. Even if there is or isn't, you know, it could be a normal cycle going forward, but that still means that this year you're still gonna have a lot of good, a lot of gains until we hit that top. And if we fall down, we fall down, right? I plan on taking profits as we go higher. I think 150 plus, I'm gonna start taking profits, start building up my cash pile. So just in case. But if we don't have a crypto winter, then we're even better. I'm still gonna hold a ton of crypto no matter what. Dr. Mike Diamond. Ooh. I have F8. 22 F8. What is a beater card you remember having that you would buy out of nostalgia? You know, my first card that got me really into cars was a 95 Mustang. So 95 Mustang was the last 5-liter pushrod Mustang there ever was. Afterwards, it's just all overhead cam engines. So recently, 95 Mustangs, there's a couple different variants. There's the V6 one, no one cares. The GT is the 5-liter. Then you had the Cobra, which is barely faster, but it looked a little better. And then there's the Cobra R, and there's only like 250 units. Recently, I came across some dealerships that were selling the 95 Cobra R. It's a very limited car. They're going for like $40,000-$50,000. It's just that vast majority of people don't know about it. So I would totally get a Cobra R. It's like a stripped out version. It has a 5.8 liter. And I would totally get that car, but I just don't think it's going to be that collector worthy. It's not a whole lot of people know about it. But yeah, I would get that. I've been seeing so many videos of the Mustang GTD. All of a sudden, it's like it's almost forced. GTD's been out for like over a year. I never hear anyone talk about it, and all of a sudden I watched a few videos of Jay Leno driving his, and now I'm getting videos of all these people with their GTDs. That Mustang makes no sense whatsoever. It's a $400,000 Mustang that's comparing itself to the GT3 RS. Um, Maybe it'll hold its value and grow. If it could become a collector's car and become like a Ford GT, the last Ford GT debuted around $400,000 and $500,000. Now they're all over $1 million. So maybe the GTD could do the same thing. If people really love it, it could become over $1 million in a few years. That would be the only reason why I see it'd be worth buying. Got a little movement here. Jay says, I'm new to community. Would you look at ZBIC? The recent structure looks promising. A value analysis. I've never heard of that coin. Never, ever. ZBIC network. 518 million. So not a super small cap. All time. Closing in at all time. Not on any big exchanges like Binance or Coinbase. It is on KuCoin, Crypto.com. It's been out since 2024. It's on Solana. Decentralized infrastructure network for real world value. What does that mean? RWA? No. Yeah, RWA payments. It's more of a payments. Payroll enterprise clients, payroll volume. So therefore payrolls. A decentralized payroll. I don't know what I think about that. It looks like they released most of their supply, which is good. They got some good exchanges, not all of them, but their field of being payroll, I just don't see a lot of companies switching out of ADP, not anytime soon. So the use case and the number of people that are going to switch to this probably going to be very limited. So this is just purely driven by speculation. That's kind of what I feel. Doesn't mean that it can't do well. In fact, the last month or so, it's been doing very well. Could be because of some enthusiasm over stable coins, or maybe there's other aspects of RWA that they could get into, but I don't know. Payroll doesn't seem like it's a big field. Everyone used ADP. Could do well though. It's been doing very well recently. Corvette ZR1 is quicker around Nürburgring and then GTD and almost 50% of price. See, that's a really good point. ZR1 will definitely hold its value, especially the X, but you can't get them, right? That's the thing. GTD is just too expensive. There's no reason why it should be $400,000. It should be like $200,000, and then it probably makes more sense. The ZR1, I think MSRP as ZR1X is still below 400,000. So I think a lot more people will try to hoard a ZR1X or a ZR1 over a GTD, but again, it depends on how many there are. GM said there will be no limit on ZR1Xs. They will produce as many as they can make. You know, for those of you guys that are thinking about visiting Hawaii, I would definitely recommend it, but it is very pricey. Very pricey. They know all the people that go there are pretty wealthy, I guess. All mostly tourists. The local people are not. Even the local people have to be wealthy. Like all the houses, especially beachfront houses, they're all like a few million plus. And they don't look very fancy, but they're still worth like $2 million, $3 million. A lot of them are worth like $5, $6, $7 million. Even the smaller houses, like a 1,000 square foot house, is over $1 million there. It's crazy. You know, eating is like double the price of anywhere else. You know, getting there, obviously, airfare is going to be a little bit more. Staying, hotels are going to be more. So for those of you guys that want to visit Hawaii, know that it's expensive, but the weather is beautiful. The beaches are probably the best I've ever seen anywhere. Water is clear and it's warm, not very wavy. It's a very beautiful place. It's just very expensive. I'm sure there's 10 million plus houses, but the nice ones I've seen were like 6, 7 million. Um, but yeah, there's some weird rule. I took a tour with this guide, and Hawaii has this weird rule where if you're not at least 50% Hawaiian, you're not allowed to own a home or own land or something like that. At least that's what he was saying about his dad. His dad got like kicked out of his own house or something like that. I don't know how that works now. Um, maybe through like maybe there's different structure or using corporations to buy or whatever. But he was telling me about some weird land owning rules where if you're not 50% Hawaiian, you can't own land or something like that. Oh, you can own the house but lease the land. Okay, so it's about owning the land. I think they just look at your family heritage. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall today, looking decent. But of course, the whales are accumulating. And they're positioning for something huge. So continue to follow the money, follow these big boys, continue to hold on DCA, and let Bitcoin lead you to the promised land. All right, guys, have a good one. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care.